I'm going to show you all the different functions that you can actually do on the keyboard, as well as just being able to simply play a piano on it. We have a wide range of different voices, the benefit of which means that you don't have to have each individual instrument, it's all within one instrument itself. So if we say go to press 50 on the keyboard, then we can change the piano to strings. So yes, the benefit of that is that you don't need all these different instruments, you can all just do it on the same. What we can also do on here is, as well as having the full function of the keyboard, we can also split the sounds. So if we press L1 on here, we can actually split the keyboard evenly between one sound, which will say have bass in this half of the keyboard, and in this half we've got a synth sound. The benefit of this is that you can kind of do layering, or you can do harmonising between two different instruments. You can also, as well as just splitting the keyboard, you can also, if you press two of the R buttons or two of the L buttons, you can also layer the one side of the keyboard so that two different instruments are playing together. Again, this is just so that there's more dynamic range, there's more of a full sound if it's required. So if we go back to the split keyboard, what the keyboard also does is, if you do auto complement, is that if we've got a backing track as such, turn that down to that, is that we've still got our split sound, but what we do is that if we press a full chord on the left side of the keyboard as such, the keyboard actually provides us with an automatic accompaniment of different instruments, of which we can take whichever parts of it we want out, such as we might just want the drum kit and the bass, just to provide us the backing track, or we might want the full track again. The benefit of having a backing track is that, again, if you're a solo musician and you want it, but you need the requirement of a full band for a gig, it can all be done in one, on one instrument. So if I put that back on, and just say I have in fact I have all the instruments on. If I press a full chord, or say the backing band, that can be done with any chord, so suspended chord, or minor chord. With that setting, we have a full chord to do the backing band. That's for people who might have more understanding of how chords work. The thing that we can do on this keyboard is, if we change the setting from chord to single, and we put the backing track on again, if I just press one key, we can have the same effect just using one key, where each white note is just the major of that key, whilst if I press the key itself and one of the black keys, a semitone behind it, you get a minor key. So this makes it easy for people who don't know chords that well, but they can still press a chord change. And say if I press C major, and still in the right hand, still have an instrument in the right hand to play along with it, to harmonise. The other thing that the keyboard does is that we also have keyboard percussion. So if we take that off there, we have the full instrument now. All the keys turn to parts of a drum kit or other percussive sounds. And what we can do here is, the benefit of this is that we can use the memory bank in here to record drum sounds in and provide ourselves with a backing track that we can then play back and then play over with any kind of melodic instrument. So one of the last points as well to mention is that with the split points, rather than the keyboard just be selected, just that it's split equally between the keyboard, is that we can, if we press split point and we get a number here that says 61, which is the halfway point in the keyboard, we can press that and either press a single key, or we can either select it up or down here, and what that does is that it puts the split further up or down the keyboard. So if I select, say, 49, it means that we have a full octave here for the accompaniment, whilst we have more wider range to play our other instruments, such as piano or any other instrument. What we'll do is that we can plug it into a computer and actually use it as a MIDI controller on a DAW, such as Logic Pro. So what I've got here is a MIDI cable, both with male ends. And what we'll do is that we'll plug the one end into the keyboard's out on here, because the information is actually being sent out of the keyboard. And on the DigiDesign inbox here, I will be plugging it into the in port, because the information is being fed into the computer. So what I'll do now is load up I'll load up Logic Pro, and I'll have a blank project, empty project, and I'll select a software instrument. So now that the keyboard is now plugged into Logic Pro, whatever I do play on the keyboard now, I can actually record it into the DAW as such. So if we've got record on there. So that information I'm playing on the keyboard actually goes into the DAW. I can then choose different samples or different instruments actually on the DAW to affect that different sound. What it allows me to do on the keyboard as well is that when I'm recording, if I put the piano roll up here, we can see here that the velocity, it's all in blue at the moment, which means that the keys are being pressed fairly lightly. What we can do is actually change the velocity. This can be done in the DAW itself by when notes are clicked in, but with the instrument, if I again go to record and press the different keys at different intensities, we can see here that the red is where it's been pressed a lot harder than colours such as blue, where it's been pressed very lightly. What we can also do with the keyboard, I should mention that the benefit of this is that it kind of offers more dynamics, because with notes being pressed lightly and more aggressively for different instruments, that has a lot of relevance. It just kind of has more of a musical, depth. But what we also have on here is that if I to replicate the sound of instruments such as trumpets, where you can pitch bend the sounds, if I do this on the keyboard, so if I I'll go on to here, we can see that here the automation of pitch bending in the notes. Right, so after pitch bending, the final thing that we can actually do on here as well that is useful is, if we go back out of here, is the auto accompaniment actually on the keyboard can be recorded into the DAW as well. So again, if I press record, let's do the demo track. So the information's been recorded into the DAW. It's probably not the most appropriate instrument to have been played through, but what it does is, if we zoom out here, we can see, let's just go further out, We'd see here from the accompaniment that's been played to the keyboard that the top half is the melodic, like the melody actually of the backing track, whereas the bottom is the percussion that's been put in. So what we can do is, for the benefit of, if we wanted to have we like a bit of the demo backing track, or if even if it's something that we've recorded to memory on the keyboard, is that we can have it on the DAW, remove the melodic part like such, so and we choose a drum kit for this. If we play that back, so we've got our drum kit there. What we can do is, as well as we've erased the melody, we can also erase parts of the drum kit that we don't like, if there is anything that we don't like. And what we can do is put in, use that as a backing track on the DAW now, whilst we record other instruments or a melody to whatever we like. Likewise, we can also, if we go back and undelete that, we might like the melodic part, and likewise we could also take out all the rhythmic parts and just key the melody. So if we go back on the piano and play that. Likewise, this kind of is another benefit, again, that if whilst we're recording, if we like the sample demo or the accompaniment that's been played to the keyboard, we might want to record our own drums or percussion to it. So either one can be changed, and we can change, once it's recorded into the DAW, we can change velocity and anything within the DAW anyway. And yeah, I think that's it.